Hi, this is Carl, the Lazy Reseller, and I just wanted to do a video on my 2020 results and my 2021 goals. And what I'm showing you now is an Excel sheet. And this Excel sheet, I keep track of how I'm doing. I think it's important to know how you're doing because if you want to grow, you need to know where you are. And this is one way to do it. This isn't really built, for anyone but me. This is just for my own information. And what you see here is how I predict how many items I'm going to sell, for example, because like my current rate is 0.39% of my inventory sold a day. And by using that, I can actually predict basically how much I can sell in a month. And that helps me just know if I'm doing okay or really good or a little worse that month. And because people forget that stuff sometimes, or they go like, oh, things are horrible and things are actually going pretty good. So I'm just going to go on to the next slide here. So my gross for 2020 was 37,000 and net of 20,800, and my net for the previous year was around 9. So it's about double. That was really good. And I sold 563 items, which is pretty good, and 37 net. And net usually I like it a little higher, but there's some reasons for that I won't go into, but in a future video I will. Basically, the answer is variation listings. But yeah, so I'm just going to show you the next slide now. So here are my percentages. My net for every $100 in sales is 56%, so 56 bucks, which is pretty good. Shipping 17%. Now in Canada, shipping is a high cost, and we don't have much control over that. We do have some cross-border shippers, and I'm hoping that in Ottawa we're going to get one of those in 2021, and that will bring that cost down a bit. My eBay fees at 10% is actually too low. Now, the reason it's a little low is that I switched to managed payments near the end, and my gross already had the PayPal fees out, and now since I'm under managed payments, my fees will actually go up, and that's fine. That's just part of doing any businesses. You're going to have fees, and I have no problem with that. Cost of goods at 12%. Now, what I do is I estimate the cost of goods for each item I sell at $8, and that's actually a little conservative. For tax purposes, I actually do calculate my gross amount for inventory going in, and but for each item I don't really track that much. But I think at $8 that's reasonable. And since I have a separate bank account, which I highly suggest you have, it's easy to see if you actually are doing okay because you'll see if you have money in there and all. And I use a credit card that all those fees come out of that same account, so I can keep that separated from my personal stuff, which I think is actually really important if you want to be successful. Refunds at 2.6%. So that seems to be fairly normal. A lot of people talk about 2% or 2.5 or something like that. And for me, that includes if something didn't work when I shipped it and it was broken, or I shipped it and got broken on the way, and that happens too. But that also includes if someone bought a couple of items and they didn't pick combined shipping, I'll actually refund them the extra shipping that they paid, and that will come out of that refund percentage as well. So goals. Now, goals should be based on who you are. I think ignoring that is not a wise idea because you'll hear a lot of goals that might not be compatible with who you are as a person and don't incentivize you as much as you want. Like, for example, list 5 things a day. You list 30 days in a month. You'll have 150 listings, etc., etc. And while that's true and great, that does not incentivize me, and I'll just ignore it when it's inconvenient. What doesn't incentivize me is competition, which I love, even if they don't know they're competing. So what I like to do is I'll pick a saved seller on my eBay account, see their listings that are higher than mine, and try and beat them. And as silly as that is, that actually does incentivize me. Another big incentive, of course, is I think having a clean environment makes a big difference because no one wants to list in a mess, which is against my nature, but some things are worth it, and that's one of them. It's not perfect, but at least I can move around and not piled up too much. Same with storage of new items that come in. They should be, I like to put them in a box and go through them rather than just piling them everywhere. And for inventory, I definitely make sure that those are stored safely because nothing's worse than something getting damaged while it's waiting to be sold. And money, strangely enough, is not a huge incentive for me. It's, while it's great to make money and that's fun, I just love the newness of all of this. I love talking to the people, and I really enjoy like learning a new bolo and looking for that. And one of my goals, of course, is keep my net around 40 because I don't like working for nothing. And I find if it goes too low, then you could be just churning your gears and your return on your time isn't very good. I won't, that's not a steadfast rule. I'll definitely list things where I net 20, for example, remote control, that doesn't take long. But I think it's important to keep that net up because a lot of people I find get frustrated when they're saying, well, I have 1,000 listings and I'm not making any money. It's like, well, are you picking the right stuff? Because it's not really about the amount of listings, it's the amount of return on your time. And get to 1,000 listings a month, which is increase my gross listings by 50. So last year, the previous year, I was at 300 listings, and right now I'm at 600 listings. And I am hoping to increase my gross listings by 50 a month. So by February the 1st, 650. And I also have to include items that actually sold. And because of that, I sell about 70 a month. So really, I have to list about 120 a month. And I can do that. I've done it. But it gets harder and harder the more you have. And I should be able to get to 1,000. It should be okay. But at that point, I'll have to decide what I want to do. Do I want to maybe change my net, or do I want to actually hire someone? Probably not. Change my processes, or change what I'm buying, but that's in the future. I'll worry about that at that point. So the last one here is learn a new bolo a week, and that's what keeps me going. I love learning the new bolos, and I get those from watching YouTube people or off other eBay sellers or lots of different sources. And usually what I do is if I find out one, I'll put in my book, my bolo book, and before it goes in here, I'll make sure it actually is a good bolo, because sometimes people say it's a good bolo, and that might not work for us Canadians because we need a much higher net, or I just don't think it's not as profitable. So, but yeah, for me, learning a bolo a week might be difficult, but we'll see how we do. And that's it. So if you liked it, please like, and if you want to, please subscribe. Thank you very much. Good luck. If you have any comments or if you have any different opinions, please leave them below. I like a different opinion because I get to learn something new. So thank you.